but I will start doing that horizontal from now on. I'm actually gonna test that out tonight. But I'm my bad for not titling it. But I want to get this off my chest. I wanted to get this off my chest. I want y'all to come in here. Yo, I want y'all to come in this bitch. What's up, Marty? Make sure you click on them links. I sent some of them links. That shit is crazy. I want y'all to come in here. But the lesson that I want you all to pull from this Browns versus Raiders game, the lesson that I want you to pull from this Browns versus Raiders game, and I'm going to be interested at how many people watch the game. I'm going to be interested in those like marketing data. I gotta fucking tell you, boy, that little dick energy, that white, and look, and let me say this first, shout out to the white folks that are Shedeur Sanders fans. Shout out to the white folks, the white dudes that aren't hating on Shedeur. Shout out, it's a white woman that's particularly on TikTok, that she's like a reporter, that she be going hard in the paint and it's not fake. She be going hard in the paint. And she is a white, straight up white woman. So shout out to all of that, because they gonna be gloating too. Because I'm sure other white folks, they be getting that you a traitor type shit. So shout out to them. Let me say that first. Let me say shout out to Baker Mayfield for proving he still belongs in NFL. You know, I like Joe Burrow. I like Josh Allen. I mean, I don't look at it on some, I don't expect every quarterback to be black or something like that. But that being said, they know who we talking about. I don't even fuck with the Browns like that. Now, I got family that lives in Cleveland. And by the way, shout out to you. You know who you are. You know, make sure you get yourself straight. I can't go no deeper into that because I'm not trying to put nobody's business out. But, dude, let me know whatever you want to talk, man. I get it. And I'll leave it there. That way y'all don't know. Because, yeah. Yeah. But the little, like, dude, what I want, fuck the gloating and all that, because at the end of the day, it's one game, and it's a game versus the 2-8 Raiders. But this is what I will say, and this is what I want to point out. White supremacy is basically welfare for mediocre white men and mediocre white people. And we gotta say that. We gotta say that. And tether ass motherfuckers. We gotta say that. We gotta say it. And let me tell you something. Straight up. It's not about, yes, he won the game. Yes, it was 24-10. Truth be told, it probably should have been 2 more touchdowns at least. And it shouldn't have been this much pressure on Shedeur as it was. But let me say this. What I want to point out to you all is Cleveland is very much hampered by the fact that Deshaun Watson is still on the books because their dumbass guaranteed all that money. I like Deshaun Watson. I'm glad he got his money. But, like, he robbed Cleveland. And they should have never gave him all of that guaranteed, right? Right. And they should have never gave him all of that guaranteed. And what I want to point out more than anything is not, people going to talk that shit, and I'm going to enjoy that shit. I'm going to enjoy some Y tears. So some tea, but sprinkled in with some white sugar, and we're going to call that white tears. Because we know you got people punching the air. We know a lot of racist pricks are gonna go to sleep angry. We know a lot of motherfuckers that they kiss white ass for a living are gonna go to sleep angry, and I love it. It's gonna be a sleepless night. It's gonna be, and they're gonna start copying plea. They're gonna do the same thing with that Canelo fight. They're gonna start saying, oh, it's the Raiders, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. Well, the more practice he gets, the better. All right. So I want you to understand, I got family in Ohio, even though, like I said, them motherfuckers are racist. I want you to really understand something. There is some money coming through Ohio because Pittsburgh is trying to create a tech sector, and Pittsburgh is 3 hours away. People forget that. You got the Football Hall of Fame. Obviously, J.D. Vance is the vice president. You got Vivek, who's technically like a billionaire. So there's money in that area. Shout out to Cedar Point. I want you to, and yes, you all corrected me. Yes, they didn't get to the finals, but I believe the Cavaliers had the like the top record in the East. Top record in the East. So they have the foundation to put a lot of money there. They obviously have Ohio State. I believe they obviously have Ohio State as well as a lot. They obviously had the opportunity to put money, and I'm setting this up for a reason, because there's other people who's gonna talk about the game. Unfortunately I didn't watch the game. I was gonna work hard to watch some fucking NFL game, but I saw it I saw the highlights. People were showing it through TikTok. But here's the thing. I want you to understand, and one brother pointed out, decent. The Cleveland defense is actually pretty decent. It's pretty good. They have a good running back. They have, and then they had, despite Deshaun Watson locking their money up, which I believe this is either his last year or next year will be his last year, but they could probably get away with offloading it, his contract, in order to be able to get free up some space. Obviously, they're going to be well positioned in the draft next year because of their record. I want you to understand how lucky even though these bastards were probably forced to get Shedeur Sanders, we're not even going to talk about the finances of the money he brings to the table just out of sales to that organization, the eyeballs that are brought to different people in that organization. Otherwise, they have been given a gift, and those fucking rednecks would rather be shitty. They would rather be sorry. They would rather be trash. They would rather be, they're 3-8 now, than they were to have this man have a shot. And people could say, well, Deshaun Watson, whatever, man. At the end of the day, Stefanski should be fucking fired. And let me tell you something. Shedeur should have had 2 touchdowns. He had 1. He really should have 3. But he had 1 because 1 caught Stefanski off guard because the dude broke out and scored. But the one he got to the 1-yard line, they pulled Shedeur out. Stefanski should be fired. And I'm going to keep it real. That owner should be looked at too. Because that shit is like negligence, what they're doing. And also, the Raiders isn't like Tom Brady. Hold on. And look,
he became a minority share.
And look, I like Tom Brady, but I gotta call Tom Brady on his bullshit. Tom Brady should have advocated for Shedeur to be on the fucking Raiders. Remember, every team passed Shedeur 4 fucking times, and some of them 5. I want you to understand that. These people would rather lose and be losers than to see a black man take it. As if Cleveland is not the Cowboys. If fucking Jerry Jones can have Dak Prescott, could you imagine if the Cowboys, it's crazy. The Raiders, Tom Brady is part owner of the Raiders. The Raiders could have had Shedeur in Vegas. Tom Brady could have low key. I mean, obviously his legacy is solidified, but yo, it's dude. These people, yeah, the Raiders the Browns actually got more fundamentals than the Raiders got, to be honest. But that would have been a piece. I just want to say that with the Raiders, because technically they thought the Raiders was gonna get Shedeur because of Brady. All of them passed it up, right? The other thing is, but going back to the Browns, they wasted entire fucking season. And here's the thing. The way Cleveland Browns people are, they will spend that bread if they think their team can win. They wasted all of that shit, man. I want you to really, yes, he is part owner. He's not like the owner. He's a minority owner, kind of like Usher is a minority owner in the Cavs. But because of obviously his record in football, his expertise as a quarterback, he probably has say in that room. I want you to really think about that. But going back to the Browns, I want you to think about how much they would rather be. I want y'all to really understand that's what white supremacy is. Because white supremacy is about, you would rather lose. You would rather be a loser. You would rather have a shitty product. They would rather produce a shitty product, shitty entertainment, shitty competition. And I'm talking about the NFL as a whole. I'm talking about college football as a whole, rather than seeing a lot of black dudes win. Shout out to Caleb on the shout out to Caleb of Chicago Bears. Obviously they're 8-3, but my point is, yeah, appreciate the belated. Yeah, like, again, these dudes, it's crazy, man. Like, you can tell race affects their judgment. Kevin Stefanski does not need to be a fucking coach in the NFL. I barely would say Kevin Stefanski needs to be in college football. And, Colorado had a bad game. They had a bad season. It happened. But that's because he has a quarterback problem. And look, personally, I don't want him on the Browns. Because the reality of the situation is, like, it's even though they got pieces, they're gonna find a way to fuck that up. The Browns actually have a better, like, team, like, fundamentals of what they need. But they had those pieces and they chose to do this. Now, obviously, the Raiders are trash. Anybody who knows football, you look at what they were doing, and then don't even get me started on that dude, letting that dude hit the ball out. That's crazy. You know what? A lot of the Cleveland fans don't. No, I won't say that. The issue is actually not the Cleveland fans. That's actually not the problem. Because Cleveland because you got to think, they want to win more. Like, that's why, they want to win more than they care about certain people what the color the quarterback is. They want to win. That's how starved they are when it comes to winning. That's not the problem. The problem is the organization. That's the problem. The problem is, because you got to remember, these are the same fans that, with Cavaliers and all of that. They want to win. They like, some of them are on that BS, but they rather win. And the reality is, you can't, like, remember, this guy has only had first team reps for 1 week. I want you to think about that. This dude has literally, he has not really been helped, yo. This dude, and like seriously, but Dillon Gabriel had all of that effort, had all of that help. And look at what you got. That's crazy. Even that throw, that's crazy. And he was tested a little bit. And we'll see. But it's just gonna be funny. It's like when you look at the money, that's what I'm talking about. And it's important to understand that, because these owners don't look at these, they don't see necessarily you win games, you get more money. These teams are assets. That's why they call them plantations, yo. Like, if you cannot say, there is no logical reason after Shedeur Sanders' performance that you can say that Dillon Gabriel should have started before him. There is no say. There is no way for you to make that argument. I'd rather you just say they didn't want to put the black dude in there. And I don't believe that Dillon Gabriel is on concussion protocol. I believe they just pulled him out and they did the concussion protocol shit to save face. That's a lie. That's a lie. 175, that's a lie. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's a lie, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And let me explain to you why. I'm not going to just say that, but let me actually explain it. Unlike other people, your secondary quarterback exists in case, because obviously quarterbacks get hurt in the NFL. If you never practice with the first team, then you can't take over and be reasonably expected to win and be reasonably expected to perform. You think Joe Flacco didn't get no reps with the first fucking team? Are you getting the majority reps? Of course not. Are you getting half the reps? Of course not. But you're getting like 20% because somebody has to take over. Look at Lamar Jackson being hurt. You think they expect the Browns to just be trash? You think they just expect the Ravens to lose every game? A lot of teams will be cooked if their first quarterback got hurt. The third quarterback is an emergency quarterback, which means if somehow by the grace of God, two quarterbacks find their way to get hurt, then the third quarterback may not get first reps, but Dillon and Shedeur was and then they lied and said it was going to be a quarterback competition. Remember that? So that was based on both people getting reps. And they're both rookies. And nobody projected Dillon to be over Shedeur Sanders. That's how you know they never wanted to get Shedeur in the first place. That's straight collusion. And the better Shedeur plays, the more obvious it was about collusion. Because when you look at the quote-unquote Shedeur show that everybody talks about, where is it? That's Cleveland doing that. So my point is, seriously, I played football for 1 year. I actually got my hair cut in my high school, the new coach of my former high school, the black dude, cool dude, got his hair cut before me. Had a great conversation. That's not how that works. So when y'all say that's y'all, that you couldn't have played football. You just sitting there listening to whatever them white boys say, and that's a lie. That's not true. That's not true at all. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be an asshole, but don't say shit if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. And that's like, because it's about synergy. Man, the secondary, they never get first reps. So what the fuck you think they supposed to do in the game then? Football's about timing. I know that. Like, that don't even make logical sense when you really think about it. Now, are they going to get the majority? Are they going to get, like, a sizable amount? No. But for him to not get no first-team reps in practice over an entire season, Think about that shit. I play basketball. So you saying you never got the scrimmage with the fucking starters? That's how that sounds. Think before you speak. Anyway, I gotta go. I'll be back in a second.